CBS sports writers got together. They came up with a mock draft. Brady Quinn, former Browns quarterback, served as the mock GM for the Vikings. So let's take a look at what came down here. The Browns take Odell Beckham with the 10th pick in the draft. By the way, he'd be the perfect guy on 4th and 1 if you're going to run the ball. I would think he'd be tough to stop. The Vikings, under GM Brady Quinn, they trade their 22nd pick to the Browns to get Odell Beckham Jr. The Browns then select Patrick Queen with the 22nd pick. What do we know about Patrick Queen? Well, he had a pretty good championship game in college, and he had a great year. 85 tackles, 12 for losses, 3 sacks, 1 INT. In 2019, he was the defensive MVP of the 2020 National Championship game with 8 tackles, 2.5 for losses, and 1/2 of a sack in that game. He was pretty impressive in that. But as we get down to it, and you're allowed to change before this draft gets underway, do you have a thought how this is going to come down in the first 10 picks for the Browns?
No, I think it's hard to say because we don't know exactly which of those offensive linemen, which one or two of them that they really like a lot.
Right.
If they're not there, I could still see this team trading down a few spots less. I know people will go a little crazy if that happens because they'll flash back to the Sashi Brown, Andrew Berry years of just trying to amass as much capital as draft capital as possible. But I don't think they would go down to a point where they would miss out on a lineman that they like. So we'll just have to wait and see what they do, obviously. I wonder if Brady Quinn, is he working on any inside information there? That I haven't seen that scenario before.
I haven't seen that either. But he said, let's ask the question then. It's the 22nd pick. Do you think the Browns would be interested in getting rid of Odell Beckham that way? I look at it a little different because with the uniforms coming out tomorrow, and the word is that Odell Beckham Jr. is the one who modeled at least some of the uniforms, I don't think the PR department puts him out there if they know they're going to trade him.
Well, I mean, I'm look back at that year that they unveiled the uniforms the last time, and I think Dwayne Bowe was part of that unveiling. So I think
my theory.
I think what it is that they wouldn't want to anger Odell Beckham by not having him involved in the uniforms. And if he happens to if somebody blows him away on draft day and offers them something, I don't know whether that would be a big enough haul for them to do that. I would do it, actually. I feel like if you could get a first rounder for him right now, and it's a guy that you know that you can get on the board, I wouldn't do it ahead of time. I wouldn't do it like the day before the draft. But I certainly, if I felt there was a guy that I really coveted there, and that's what it took to move up, I wouldn't be against doing it, Les. And I know that's probably an unpopular opinion because the guy is so talented.
Well, my opinion is you're very weak at linebacker right now, and if you trade Beckham Jr., then you make yourself very weak at the wide receiver spot. So you got one unit on offense, one on defense, and since right now I believe as constituted now, I believe the offense is stronger than the defense, and so I mean you'd like to be good on both, or you'd like to be really good at one and sort of good on the other.
No, you're right. Right. So more than not in the modern NFL, that's how it works. So teams have enough money to be great on one side of the ball, and then they try to do as well as they can on the other side. So you make a good point. This offense does have a chance to be very good with him. I just, I keep looking at him and wondering whether he's going to hold up through a whole season and whether he's going to be, I'd hate to see Baker Mayfield go into another season where he feels like he has to force him the ball. Now, maybe there'll be a different dynamic this year. And maybe Odell Beckham is a better teammate than we all think he is, and he won't have a problem with the ball being spread around. But certainly with those two guys in the backfield and with Austin Hooper at tight end, I don't know that this looks like, and with Landry on the team, I don't know that this looks like a 100-catch season for Odell Beckham. Will he be happy otherwise? Maybe if they're winning. He just hasn't been with a team that's been winning for a while. So
if you look at what's out there and what the first round looks like, or at least the first 10 picks, you don't know if Tua is going to be if he's going to be picked that high. I mean, he should be talent-wise, but you don't know because of the injury. You have 4 offensive linemen who seem to be interchangeable. It almost seems like if you really want an offensive lineman, if you don't have a real favorite, it looks like you could almost let one fall in your lap. Although that's not a good draft strategy, except this particular draft, it looks like maybe it is. And then if all the linemen are picked, then you got the linebacker Simmons that you could take, and he seems to be a special guy. But then I'm saying, if he's that special and can play anywhere, why is he even thinking? Why are they even thinking he'll be available at number 10?
Yeah, I mean, we all know from past experience that these quarterbacks end up there in the draft, and they push some really good players down past where they probably should be rated. So there's always a possibility that happens. I believe Tua will go in the first 5 picks, 6 picks, and then it's a matter of...
No, if he doesn't, what's that? If Tua doesn't go in the first 5, does do the Browns reach for the phone book and say, by the way, if anybody wants Tua, I got the 10th pick you can play around with here? Do you think that opens up or not?
I was curious to hear Andrew Berry talk about how he thinks the tackle is interchangeable right now because of the scheme they run, whether it's right, if you could play a guy at left tackle, he could also play right tackle or whatever. I wonder if that was a smokescreen to keep people thinking that they're not zeroing in on a left tackle in the draft, but you just never know at this point with as much skullduggery or whatever you want to call it that goes on in the draft. Everybody tries to hide what they really think. But I would
go ahead.
Well, no, I was going to say I would be surprised if they don't walk away with a tackle and a guy who can be their left tackle for the next 8 years.